1. Hey, we're live. Hello and welcome, people of the world. Marketing is a foreign language. I'm your host. Today on the show, YouTube will remove videos with COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. Twitter to pay Washington $100,000 for campaign finance violations. Facebook, Twitter dismantle a global array of disinformation networks. With Election Day looming, Twitter imposes new limits on U.S. politicians and ordinary users too. LinkedIn, how to add stickers to stories in case you want to do that. And last but not least, YouTube CEO says that refuses to say whether or not YouTube will ban QAnon. Oh my goodness. The policing of the internet. Show starts now. Yeah, we're a live show, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to join us for the live show, why don't you swing by YouTube, punch in the words marketing as a foreign language, and voila, YouTube will remove videos with COVID-19 vaccine information. All links to the articles that we cover here are in the description. Check it out. So videos containing COVID-19 vaccine misinformation will be removed from YouTube. The platform announced today content about a vaccine that contradicts information from health experts or the World Health Organization will not be permitted. This from TheVerge.com. Quote, a COVID-19 vaccine may be imminent. Therefore, we're ensuring we have the right policies in place to be able to remove misinformation related to a COVID-19 vaccine. Farshad Shadlu, a YouTube spokesperson, said in an email that could include false claims that vaccines implant microchips in people's bodies. I do not think that they do, for example, or that they cause infertility. Both rumors are untrue. So are vaccines 100% always perfectly safe? No. Shrimp. People are allergic to shrimp. People are allergic to peanuts. There are times when vaccine reactions are not pleasant. They are not the perfect panacea. That being said, do I want to live in a world with measles? No, I certainly do not. The eradication of many diseases has come at the hands of vaccines, and the vast majority of the time they are safe. But let us not get it twisted. They are not absolutely perfect, and that is important to keep in mind, even if they are 99% of the time perfectly fine. If you find yourself in the 1%, that can be unpleasant for you. The new guidelines are an expansion of YouTube's existing COVID-19 medical misinformation policy, which doesn't allow videos that falsely suggest the coronavirus doesn't exist, that discourage mainstream medical care for the disease, or say that the virus is not contagious. The highly contagious virus does exist, and alternative unproven remedies can be dangerous. This is, of course, true if someone is recommending that you jump 42 times on a trampoline while eating a burrito that is basically made of sriracha, putting lemon juice in your eye, and praying. That probably isn't going to work. And so alternative unproven remedies, unlike the ridiculous one I just mentioned, are obviously dangerous. So it is important. Now, the question is, to what extent are these private companies able to do this? Well, they can do whatever they want. Will they actually lose market share if people find them too restrictive? If there are subsets of the population that go, you know what, this is ridiculous. We want to be able to freely speak our minds, and we're sick of being blocked. How much market share will they lose? My guess is not that much. I think that YouTube will be perfectly fine, and this gets us into an argument about whether or not YouTube is too big, because really, at the end of the day, there is no alternative that's reasonable to YouTube. So the removing of videos of COVID-19 vaccine misinformation is almost as if the government itself is passing a policy, because at the end of the day, it's YouTube or bust when it comes to video content, at least long-form video content. What do you think? Leave a comment. Twitter to pay Washington $100,000 for campaign finance violations. Seattle, Twitter has been fined $100,000 for multiple campaign violations in the state of Washington. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson has announced this from ComoNews.com. A judge ruled at least 38 candidates paid nearly $200,000 for political advertising on Twitter between 2012 and 2019, and Twitter failed to keep records of those ads as required by Washington state law. So apparently, the fine folks, the Washingtonians, have a law wherein you must keep the records of ads, even dating back to 2012. And if you don't, you get a fine. Twitter stopped accepting political advertisements in November of 2019. Washington campaign finance law requires commercial advertisers, including popular social media platforms, to collect information on the sources and payments of political advertising and make it available for public inspection within 24 hours of the ad's publication, the Ferguson office said. Well, me oh my, that 100 G's will go into the state's public disclosure transparency account. So yeah, I'm all about transparency in ads. I think we should know exactly who is purchasing an ad at all times. I should be able to click on this ad right here where it says ad choices, and it should tell me who did this ad. It should tell me a lot more than just about Google ad personalization. I should be able to click on this ad and learn about the advertiser, maybe even know how much they're spending. I'm all about ad transparency, especially when it comes to banner ads like this. But look at this banner ad. You hover over it and it expands into something else. Yikes. Holy smokes. If you're joining us for the podcast, I hovered over a banner ad and all of a sudden I see a gigantic mailer of all the different deals at Smith's, which is actually a pretty clever ad. And I didn't know that Smith's was advertising in this way. This iframe is gigantic. Moving right along. Facebook, Twitter dismantle global array of disinformation networks. This coming from Reuters.com. Facebook Inc. and Twitter said on Thursday they had taken down more than a dozen disinformation networks used by political and state-backed groups in multiple countries to deceive users on their platforms. In separate statements, the two companies said they had identified and suspended more than 3,500 accounts between them, which used fake identities and other deceptive behaviors to spread false or misleading information. The question, of course, is if you found 3,500, how many more are there out there? I feel like Facebook and Twitter are constantly holding up these sort of accomplishments in the same way that federal law enforcement stands by a table of cocaine and guns from narcotraficantes. I'm trying to think of the word in English. Narco traffickers, I think is the word. So yeah, what's the deal? Facebook and Twitter, I don't know outside of societal pressure if they have enough, I guess you could say pressure or enough incentive to dismantle these disinformation networks, because they kind of benefit from them in a way, which is to say that if you have misinformation that's getting retweeted a lot, it is helping keep people on the platform. If you're on Facebook and there is misinformation outside of Zuckerberg having to testify in front of Congress or having to deal with the backlash of this sort of thing, they do benefit because they get more time on site, more users, that sort of thing. Now, if this information is turning people off the platform, then you could make the argument that they are not benefiting from it. So is it a net positive that they've got all of these popular fake accounts spreading misinformation? I would argue that no. It probably is in their best interest to simply get rid of them. Back to the article, the networks targeted users in a wide selection of countries, including the United States, where officials have warned that foreign governments are attempting to influence the outcome of November's presidential election. This is a heavy cross to bear for Facebook and Twitter, and I know nobody likes talking about it because it's easy to hate them and it's easy to criticize them. They are obviously going through metric, you know the word, tons of data in order to try to prevent this misinformation. Back to the article, after coming under heavy fire for failing to stop alleged Russian efforts to sway the 2016 U.S. election, Facebook and Twitter have announced a string of high-profile takedowns. Yeah, so just like I said before, just like the FBI standing in front of a group of or a large table of drugs and guns, Twitter and Facebook stand in front of a digital table of fake accounts that they have found. How many are there? Who knows? With Election Day looming, Twitter imposes new limits on U.S. politicians and ordinary users, too. This from the Washington Post. The changes will alter the look and feel of Twitter, increasing the amount of time a user must spend to retweet someone else's comments. So that's the big news, is the quantity of time someone has to spend in order to retweet. These moves are aimed mainly at combating efforts to manipulate the political landscape at critical moments in the hotly contested national vote. The policy changes are the culmination of years of revisions. So what is the exact amount of time that we're going to have to spend here? Twitter will impose new warnings on politicians' lies, restrict premature declarations of victory, and block calls for polling violence or other disruptions, the company announced Friday as it rolled out wide-ranging changes designed to harden the platform against abuse related to the U.S. election on the 3rd. So new limits on U.S. politicians. So increasing the amount of time a user must spend to retweet someone else's comment. All right. So apparently there's X number of time that you would have to spend. And then so restricting premature declarations of victory. So if a politician on the 3rd says, I won, I wonder how the algorithm's going to find that. I mean, this election is going to be absolutely nuts. I think you probably feel the same way. The moves will also temporarily alter the look and feel of Twitter, a service built on instantaneous conversation. Exactly. So it's going to slow things down. So retweeting other people, for example, will require an extra step designed to encourage users to add their own thoughts, which is something we covered in a previous episode. Oh, man. Yeah, it is. It's October, and we're very close to this election, and this one is going to be one for the history books, to be sure. I think Twitter and Facebook have Twitter in specific have a role to be played, and I think that they are trying to deal with this, but this is new territory. Trump campaign spokeswoman Samantha Zager said in a statement Friday after the announcement, quote, "Make no mistake, this corporation is attempting to silence voters and elected officials to influence our election. This is extremely dangerous for our democracy." So that's on the right. That's the perspective there. The campaign for Joe Biden, Trump's Democratic rival, did not respond. Democrats, civil rights activists, and independent researchers, by contrast, have generally praised efforts by social media companies to prevent abuse and manipulation on platforms. I am of the mind that if it's clearly misinformation, then yes, I think Twitter, as a private company, has all of the rights in the world to... Hey, that's how you know we're live. Oh, bless me. Thank you very much. So I think they have all of the rights in the world to stop content. I do feel if they go too far, that a number of people that feel that Twitter has gone too far will leave the platform, which is their right, and they should do that if that's how they feel about Twitter. If you're the one being silenced, that's got to be irritating, obviously. And my wife in chat says, "Bless you." Thank you, Lanisha. Appreciate that. Anyway, so is Twitter going to change the political landscape, or is it going to change the election? Of course it is. It's big enough, and the moves they make do have an impact. Just some practical stuff. Adweek.com, LinkedIn, how to add stickers to stories. So basically, LinkedIn has stories. You can add stickers to them. In case you're wondering, this is just your friendly reminder that you can do stories on LinkedIn and that they're updating their platform. Last but not least, YouTube CEO won't say if company will ban QAnon. For years, YouTube has faced challenges over the type of content it removes. Facebook, I think, is getting a little bit more aggressive, as we covered recently, with their banning of anti-vaccination ads. Here we've got YouTube trying to figure out what they're going to do with QAnon. In an interview with CNN's Poppy Harlow for the Boss Files podcast, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki stopped short of pledging to ban QAnon followers on the platform. Quote, "We're looking very closely at QAnon," she said. We've already implemented a large number of different policies that have helped to maintain that in a responsible way. Believers of this, according to this article on CNN.com, far-right conspiracy theory, which first appeared 3 years ago, have embraced a number of different and sometimes contradictory ideas, blah, 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 blah. So really, at the end of the day, we're talking about YouTube banning an entire group of people. I think they're probably afraid of the precedent that might set. Because when you're talking about QAnon, and you can vehemently disagree with everything they stand for, the entire group itself probably has some nuance to it. And I know, heaven forbid I mention that, but the reality is that groups of people tend to have nuance. And so banning anything that's in that world can be tricky, because you've got people who probably believe a thing or two that QAnon espouses. They've got people that are all in. You've got people that are talking about how it's ridiculous, but an algorithm can pick that up. So say, for example, you're doing a video that's against QAnon, but YouTube has rolled out an algorithm that basically bans anything that they believe is in favor of these conspiracy theories, but you're doing a piece on how it's ridiculous, but it gets flagged anyway. So now you've got this sort of black hole of information. It is difficult. I mean, because think about it. YouTube is literally listening. Well, not listening, but it's, well, I guess you could say that. It auto transcribes every word, so it knows what the words are. So it's reading the words you're saying, you could say. And if you don't perfectly design an algorithm, which, let's be fair, that's not going to happen, you do end up in this sticky situation of perhaps accidentally getting rid of content that you didn't intend to get rid of, etc. So I understand where the CEO of YouTube is coming from on this one, but you could show me an individual example of a video, I'm sure, that's on YouTube that I would find repulsive. So that is kind of the deal there. So everybody, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's when the live show starts. Again, if you want to join us, just type in Marketing as a Foreign Language into YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and voila, there you go. Let's recap. YouTube will remove videos with COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. So YouTube making the decision to not get rid of QAnon related content, apparently, but moving full steam ahead on removing videos with COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. So everything I just said about them and the slippery slope of censorship, they're willing to take that risk, you could say. Here, the math on this is probably that they believe they'll save more lives by stopping the spread of vaccine misinformation, because they are of the mind that the vaccine, when it goes through its many trials, will be definitely worth it. I know there's vaccine hesitancy out there. A lot of folks in the scientific community that I've spoken to, doctors, etc., have educated me on the rigors that vaccines must go through in order to be finally approved. Obviously, we all want this pandemic to end. So YouTube to remove videos with COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. The nuances of that are interesting. There's a wide variety of videos that can be uploaded. And so it would be interesting to look at those on a case-by-case basis. $100,000. Turns out Twitter, they're not immune to the laws of the land, and they make mistakes, and they didn't keep records for campaigns in Washington. They got fined. They should get fined. Let's see. Facebook, Twitter, dismantling a global array of disinformation networks. Yep, we get it. They are the police. They're the information police. They are the referees. They are the judges. They're the entire law enforcement agency when it comes to their companies and information. And so they play all those roles. And they currently play the role of standing in front of 3,500 accounts that they can proudly say, we get rid of these, so don't hate us forever. Election day looming. Twitter imposes new limits on U.S. politicians. Yeah, they are sick and tired of having to answer questions about what the negative impacts that they're having on the elections, and so they're doing everything they can to try to balance that out. I think they tend to lean to the left with their policies. Folks on the right tend to see this as a clampdown on free speech, and folks on the left tend to see it as common sense. So what do I think about this? I think Twitter's a private company, so they can do whatever they want to in regards to this. And I really do think at the end of the day, they're going to, if they make enough bad moves, people are going to jump. They're going to jump ship. I mean, let's be fair, they already are. I mean, the younger generation's not on Twitter. The younger generation's on Snapchat. You can add stickers to stories in LinkedIn, so don't forget about LinkedIn stories. And last but not least, a little bit of hypocrisy from YouTube, or at least them deciding what they want to fight and what they don't want to fight. They're willing to ban anti-vaccination videos. Oh, little kung fu video for you. They're willing to ban COVID-19 vaccine misinformation, but they're not willing to ban QAnon related stuff. So there you go. That's the news of the day. Thanks for swinging on by. We appreciate it as always. Do leave a comment. Do hit the thumbs up button.